also just want to, since you mentioned your hope for China's role in the Ukraine-Russia conflict, and actually China made the peace proposal, and the EU has not really responded positively. I mean, even Macron, French president, responded more positively. I mean, China was able to mediate Iran, Saudi Arabia, exactly because it didn't take side for their conflict. The same reason. I mean, China thinks it's neutral. I mean, has had a good relation with both Russia and Ukraine. So why don't EU give it a try? I mean, it may not be perfect. Thank you.
Thank you, Wei Hua. Peter.
Thank you very much. Well, on our statements, I think they are quite self-explanatory. So the statement contains what we thought was appropriate to say on behalf of the EU in a given time on an appropriate on a given topic. So we would not go into the details debating like why something is not mentioned in the statement and why something is there. This is the statement. This is the position of the EU. Take it or leave it. On the second part of your question, well, the Chinese peace proposal, I think it doesn't make sense to repeat the reactions. You heard Commission's President von der Leyen talking about it, High Representative Borrell talking about it. But one element you mentioned is very important. You can be an honest peace broker when you don't take sides. When it comes to Russia, Ukraine, China is actually taking sides. China refuses to acknowledge who is the aggressor and who is the victim. China is putting at the same level Ukraine, which is under brutal, illegal attack in violation of the UN Charter, exactly the same charter China claims to protect as a permanent member of Security Council of the UN. So this is already one thing which is debatable in the Chinese attitude and Chinese proposal. Secondly, China is not really deflecting from the Russian narrative about the misleading narrative about this aggression. Sometimes multiplying and echoing the Russian reasons about the so-called genocide and encroachment by the NATO and similar nonsense. So if you want to broker peace, then of course everyone is welcome to broker the peace. First of all, needs to be accepted by the two parties involved. And as you have seen until now, Russia remained very cold and ignorant to any meaningful peace proposals. Instead, Russia is escalating and escalating and escalating in its atrocities against the Ukrainian civilian population and Ukrainian civilian infrastructure. But of course, any country is welcome to do as much as they can in order to bring the peace, because peace is urgently needed, and whoever can exercise their influence on Russia should do so, so that Russia stops this inhuman illegal aggression as soon as possible. And China has the leverage as a permanent member of the UN Security Council.
Thank you, Peter. I think, Wei Hua, you have a follow-up question. Let's take that.
Yeah, I just want to follow up because I know President von der Leyen's position, but actually, if you look at President Zelensky's comment, he was actually more positive about China's peace proposal. Also, China's stance is not really different from that of India, Indonesia, South Africa, many countries. So does that mean EU will reject any future mediation by India, South Africa, Indonesia, all those countries who, of course, have not condemned Russia as EU expects? Thank you.
Thank you, Wei Hua. Actually, it's not many countries that didn't condemn. It's 141 countries. The big majority of the UN member states have condemned the illegal Russian aggression and called on Russia to stop this brutal aggression. The countries which abstained are only in their minority. It's a few dozens of countries, between 20 and 30, who abstain, and the countries who are supporting Russia and vote with Russia are between 5 and 7 in the UN. So let's get the numbers straight and the proportions straight. Second of all, it's not up to the EU to endorse any potential peace brokers. Of course, we welcome and support any peace efforts by anyone. We are not party of this conflict, although Russia tries very hard to involve us. But this is something, the peace talks are something for the Ukrainians and Russians first of all. And as I said, until now, despite the number of peace initiatives, let's take also the one from China, Russia's response is unconstructive, and Russia's response to any effort by the international community or its members to bring peace or to bring both parties to the negotiating table is just further escalation. Because for peace you need two, for war you need one. And Russia is not ready to stop its ongoing slaughter in Ukraine and its ongoing illegal actions in Ukraine. So when the moment comes that Russia will be able, then we will see any kind of peace efforts unfolding. But at this stage, it takes two for peace negotiations. Very important is how Ukraine feels about possible facilitator or negotiator. But on the other side, you need also Russia to be ready to come to the negotiating table and to discuss peace instead of continuing with the ongoing killings and destructions in Ukraine.